All right, folks, how you doing? This is our 2016 Super Fun Time Fantasy Football League Trade Deadline Town Hall
Discussion Bonanza.
So the Sftffl Tdthdb.
Yeah.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
For the cure.
Yeah.
So I mean, let's just get right into it. Let's talk about the first trade that went down of our deadline week.
Yeah. So right off the bat, we have Jeff going after Christopher Ivory.
Right.
Received a 14th round pick in this upcoming draft in exchange for Kelvin Benjamin, who I believe has a 12th round tag, and a 4th round pick in this year's upcoming draft.
Now, I thought this was nice for MJ here. You know, he gets some real good value in Kelvin. You would think he'll come back strong off that injury next year. Great keeper value. Plus, you got a 4th round pick out of it, too, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and Jeff gets to add Ivory, who's been silently killing it.
Right.
Up in New York.
North Jersey.
Yeah, right.
Let's keep it real.
So he's been doing, that's a pretty good trade for each side. Obviously adding Ivory, who is definitely ranked up pretty high right now at his position. Going into the playoffs is huge. MJ adding a keeper and a solid round pick, also awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to trade number 2.
Trade number 2. We have, why don't you take that?
We have Pappas. He traded for LeGarrette Blount. I believe he would be a 10th round keeper this year, 12th round last year. 17th round tag. Chaz received a 5th round pick for his efforts. Also, with the LeGarrette Blount, it's just a reminder, being kept the second year, even with the player being traded, that cap or the
carrying
tag
contract.
carries.
Yeah.
Contract carries with the player.
Right.
So he will be a 10th round keeper this year. That's LeGarrette Blount.
I mean, overall, this is, nice if Blount can kind of, bring it on here for this second half of the year. And if you want to keep him, give some decent value. But I really think Charlie got away with one here, getting that, what was it, a 5th?
Yeah,
a 5th round pick here for
much used later.
And he's a buyer. He's not even a seller, and he got a 5th round pick. So I think that was a nice acquisition there.
But on the flip side, we have another running back who should be getting plenty of volume down the stretch, just like Ivory, going to another team in contention.
Belichick scares me, bro. Scares me.
Yeah, for sure. But
there's points to go around, that's for sure.
Absolutely. All right, moving on to trade number 3. We have Chaz receiving Robert Gronkowski, a 13th, 15th, and 17th round pick for this year's draft. Setting it to Kevin Cassidy for Amari Cooper, who is a 3rd round keeper. Also with a 3rd round pick. Nice. The 5th round pick that Pappas received from Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
That Charlie received from Pappas, right? Charlie's the receiver from Pappas.
The receiver.
Nice.
From Pappas.
Wow. And a 7th round pick also. So.
I mean, this was a big one. This was one of the big ones early on. I think it was great value for Kevin here, while Charlie's acquiring an absolute monster murderer. I don't even know what to call Gronk. It's Gronk. He's the second best tight end to Tyler Eifert. So he's just an animal and great for the run to the ship here.
Absolutely. Kevin also flipping him. If he's going to trade him early, it had to be a pretty ridiculous haul.
He's getting Amari in the 3rd round.
And he's getting the pick to cover the cost.
That's sexy as fuck.
We'll trade you a guy, we'll pay his contract, then getting the 5th round pick and the 7th round pick on top. Pretty nice. Had he held out on Gronk before people, maybe he could have got a 1st rounder, but not that keeper value.
No, I think getting Amari there and then getting the pick to cover it is just like, you got free money at that point.
Yeah.
So it's nice for both teams here.
Yeah, and Kev got a bunch of middle round picks in this draft, and a draft that should have more talent up front compared to last year, with the people being thrown back in with the cap penalty going up. So, we'll see if he can move on up. He's definitely active. All right, so moving on to trade number 4. Right after that, we had announced with Greg and yours truly. Details are Nelson Aguilar going to Greg. Nelson has a 4th round tag. Not really sure that'll come into play this year. Greg definitely has a lot of assets. Dorial Green Beckham. I wrote that backwards on the message board. My apologies.
Beckham Green.
Dyslexia is one of the most, if not the most, common disability in children. It's very common.
For the cure.
Nothing to be worried about. So no making fun there. I believe Dorial Green Beckham has a 10th round tag, maybe 11th, somewhere around there. So they keep saying he's going to get some action. We'll see. But again, Greg has plenty of options. So.
Right.
Niall Davis was a throw-in. Greg then getting his first of a few first-round picks and a 5th-round pick on top is nice.
Loading up early.
He sent Brian, yourself, in the third person, Randall Cobb, who I believe because of the exchange, he was a 3rd-round keeper. Will there be a penalty? So I think he's a first-rounder. Either way.
Because
because he was.
He'd be a first rounder next year.
Yeah, he was exchanged in time before the season for Jordy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he'll be a first round penalty. Probably not a keeper there, obviously.
But as far as for now, I mean, that's somebody who we talked about it. Struggled at the beginning of the year. Is by far I think the best receiving asset on the Packers. So we'll look to see a lot of targets coming his way.
Yeah, hopefully an easier schedule from the start of the year would help that. On the flip side, we have Alshon Jeffrey coming over.
Had a he had a big week last week, right?
He had a pretty big week the week before,
right? Waking up, shaking off the early injuries, and everybody was talking about Alshon being elite last year. Maybe it's his kind of return to form here.
Yeah,
which could be huge down the stretch. And when I saw this trade go through, I was like, well, okay. I didn't know if you were a buyer or a seller. Yeah. Obviously, this makes you a buyer here for sure.
Yeah, I didn't really get what I wanted on the seller's market, and then I figured if I was going in, I had to go big early. Alshon, I'm just hoping that he stays healthy. I'm hoping Forte stays healthy for you even, but for the passing game, and then also a Cutler. Don't want to see your boy Clausen again.
Right.
Sorry.
Give him a chance. Jimmy can get it done. Nobody's ever given him a real shot.
All right. And then Christopher Johnson coming over. He's been overachieving. You never know if that could flip and one of those other running backs could get the job.
And then the CJ one on top of that was like, you're adding to the receiving core for the run, becoming the buyer and knowing that, okay, there's another team that's going all in, and then seeing CJ get thrown in on this deal too. It's like CJ's been hot. He's the one they're using there. That just adds to the run game. So I think that was really good value for you right now and great value for Greg for next year for building.
Yeah, absolutely. On top of that, I received a 9th round pick and a 17th round pick, so probably a kicker, one of the few I'll draft. Big Mason Crosby guy. And 9th round pick, we'll see what's there at that point.
Right.
Moving on to the next one, we have Charlie, a name you're going to hear a little bit, Chaz, receiving Antonio Brown and D'Angelo Williams, a 15th round pick and a 17th round pick. Who'll be coming after those kickers like that. Don't get Crosby. Tom received in exchange for that a 1st round pick and the 5th round pick that that was Charlie's pick. So
Charlie here, when I said let's go through, this is Charlie officially becoming a buyer and not a seller at this point.
Yeah, the Gronk move was big, but obviously holding on to his 1st and 2nd round pick was still,
Getting Antonio and D'Angelo, they're both on the same team, but at the same time, Antonio did he finish as the number 1 fantasy wide receiver last year? Either way, he's an absolute monster on the field and in fantasy. He had a rough start. Big Ben's back. Hopefully that turns around for him. And now D'Angelo is the lead back for the Pittsburgh Steelers who run the ball.
And he looked good early on.
Le'Veon had a suspension for, let's not talk about it. But
he catches a little bit, right, I think?
Oh, yeah, I mean, he's going to have to.
Yeah.
And, he's going to get a lot of opportunities. And D'Angelo looked real good in the beginning of the year. He's probably hungry. I think that's great value for Charlie. And, Nuzzy adding on a 1st and a 5th is all you can really ask for if you're trying to sell. You're getting a 1 that's, couldn't get an earlier pick, and then, a 5th round pick coming over too as well. So have some options in the draft to kind of stock up early.